everyone, welcome back to Haunt After Hours, where we pay tribute to the work, chaos, and fun that goes on behind the scenes in the haunt industry. I'm Heartless Heather, and I'm here with Director Gary.
Hi, everybody.
Big Ann.
Hey, everyone.
Nanny Janny.
Hey, y'all.
And we have a few guest stars today. We've got Corinne May.
Like always, I'm always here.
Nibbles is her haunt name. And this was their first year in the haunt industry, and they came to share their experience with us. And we're really excited to have them on the show tonight. I've got Leica.
Hi.
And Julie.
Hello.
And Max.
Howdy.
Now, Leica, you are like a natural actor, right? Things just come now. You did some theater work.
Yeah, I've done theater since I was in like 6th grade.
Yeah, and she's one of our Gary and I and Janet, we're making a movie for Ranch of Horror. It's called House of Dystopia, and Leica's one of our main characters. And she just, everything just comes so naturally to her. Nothing sounds fake or rehearsed. Yeah. Then some of the other theater kids, we had to be like, whoa, you're not speaking to the audience way out there. You're speaking right here. So we never had to direct her in any way like that.
Whatever she says just sounds natural.
Yeah.
It's actually fooled me a few times where I'm like, oh, can we put that in the script and redo this? And it's like, no, it's already in the script.
Yeah.
Oh.
I know the script better than you do.
And she just really is a natural. So we're gonna give her in a little bit. We're gonna play have her do some monologues for us on the spot.
Oh no! Okay.
Improv.
I love improv.
We were talking about improv.
Yeah, we were on the way here.
Julie did an excellent job in our haunted house, and she's also acting in one of our in the movie. And you put together music.
Yeah. So what I tend to do is I tend to just write, produce, record, mix, master like a full song all by myself, and then I'll release it independently on like every streaming platform you can think of.
Do you have a few streaming platforms you could?
Spotify, iTunes, SoundCloud, YouTube, yeah, all under Trapped in Narnia.
No, that's cool.
Under Trapped
in Narnia.
In Narnia.
Trapped in Narnia. Okay. Cool.
Trapped in Narnia. All one word? Mm-hmm. Nice.
Trapped in Narnia. We're gonna get some links to that and post that on our social media platforms. And Max, I keep saying we need to get her like down to Nashville to do some singing, but Max,
Nashville's probably not the type of singing that she would like to do. Though.
Country, wonderful, yeah.
Max sings country.
I sing country.
Nice.
Max sings everything.
Give us a little.
I just asked you about Merle Haggard, and you had no idea who I was talking about. If you do not know Merle Haggard, you do not know country.
I was singing Reba yesterday.
Reba.
Give us 3 seconds. Anything.
Give us 3 seconds of Reba. Go ahead. What was the one I was singing yesterday?
Do fancy.
Oh God, I don't know what's that one. I was singing the one about Georgia the other day.
Okay, go ahead.
That was the night that the lights went out in Georgia.
Nice. See, I already like it. I'm a big fan of Max's. I've always been a big fan of Max. She showed up to an interview.
I was wearing the same shirt.
She was. Oh, what? You were? You really? She dressed as Beetlejuice, and when she showed up to do her interview for the haunt, and she pulled it off perfectly. And she brought all the people with her.
I think
how do you know it was my idea?
Oh, was
Julie was the one that drove us.
Julia's the one that drove us. It was my idea. Max was the first person you saw.
What I find interesting about you is the haunt's over. We're closed. She's still Beetlejuice.
Right?
That's their thing.
All right. So before we get started, Big Ann, share with us your Boo of the Week.
Our Boo of the Week. Okay, we're going to go all the way to Virginia for our Boo of the Week. So a Virginia man was arrested for allegedly trying to steal more than $1,000 worth of items from Walmart.
Oh my goodness.
So let me see if I can find this guy's name here. Hold on one second. Okay, this was 32-year-old Hector Velasquez Maldonado, and I'm sure I butchered that name, but it really doesn't matter because our hero of the week got caught trying to steal roughly about $1,400 of merchandise, according to the police. They caught our hero as he was trying to leave the Walmart out the back door. A Chesterfield County Walmart is where this took place. And you might wonder why this guy became our boo of the week, right? I mean, what's the big deal? Everybody
people
steals
steal
from
Walmart.
from
Not
Walmart.
everybody, but
Not everybody.
yes.
There's a lot of people, and $1,400 worth really is not that drastic of a thing. But see, our genius decided to try his would-be bandit activity during the Chesterfield County Walmart Shop with the Cop event,
Oh, yes.
where dozens of the local police officers were shopping with impoverished children as they picked out their gifts, and our hero was surrounded as he tried to escape the store,
Oh my goodness.
not knowing that they were there waiting for him.
Masterful,
And
masterful scheduling there.
that makes our friend the boo of the week.
What was he stealing? Does it say?
It doesn't say, just $1,400. It was around Christmas time, so I'm sure it was legit Christmas gifts.
I'm sure. I don't know. We had when I was living in Louisiana, there was I gotta look up the story, but one of the higher ups in the school, like a superintendent, who got in trouble for stealing thousands.
Yeah.
Like this was like the 5th or 6th time stealing $900 or more from
And he was a
Walmart.
superintendent?
It was a female, and
Yeah.
it was a superintendent. It was a big story.
Yeah.
So I guess stealing from Walmart is a thing for all classes.
So just so you guys know, because you bring up the $900 figure, that is only a California stupid law,
Yeah.
which I think is rescinded now.
Yeah,
I think
right.
they changed that back.
I hope so.
But
Aw,
this was in
shucks.
Virginia, and in Virginia, you're just going to get busted. So
Yeah.
just don't try it. Just
I
don't do
accidentally
it.
shoplifted last month.
Accidentally?
Well, because it's a self-checkout, right? And I guess I didn't hear the beep. And so I bought everything else, and I get home, and I started looking. I thought, I remember driving home thinking, that was a little less expensive than I thought. And I thought, well, maybe I look at my receipt, and I missed an item. Sorry,
This is
Walmart.
being recorded.
Yeah, they're gonna come
This
for
was
you,
not
Gary.
the Walmart in California. Say his name.
I mean, it was.
It certainly wasn't the one in Ceres, California on Hatch Road.
At a certain time of
And
day.
it wasn't that new flat screen TV that you had.
Right.
Well, I'm not going to say the price of the item. I'm just saying I didn't hear the beep.
You know how people post online all the time about the shoplifters. My favorite one is there's a lady walking, and it's a healthy lady, and she's walking kind of funny, and all of a sudden a turkey drops between her legs.
No, stop. What is wrong with
She gave birth.
I used to work at 7-Eleven during night shift, and while my coworker was giving this one guy a bunch of cigarettes, the guy kept being like, "No, actually, can I get 2 packs of this on top of that?" 8 packs in, my coworker turns around and the guy just grabs the cigarettes and goes, "Thank you," and walks out with all of them.
And there's nothing they can do because you can't fight for them or anything else.
Yes.
But could you imagine carrying a frozen? It never did say if it was a frozen or fresh turkey or whatever. But yeah, could you imagine a turkey between your thighs walking around Walmart?
Me and Annie went to the Ceres Walmart that he stole
Yeah.
from. And
Wait, I didn't like that.
Tell us everything.
Yes.
So we were going
So we were looking for these fishing rods.
fishing
And-
lines for the hunt, fishing wire.
And this dude went up to one of the bikes, the Spider-Man bike, and got on it and walked with it and went to the back door. He walked out with it and
He pushed the door, the alarms went off, he jumped on the bike and took off.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So
And that's
they-
one way to make an exit.
And a bunch of people just came around like looking. And
and then one of this dude came up and closed the door.
Right.
Oh.
One came up and closed the door, and they were hollering, "Turn their alarms off! Turn alarm!" Didn't even phase them, like they weren't going to chase after the guy or
Yeah.
anything.
No.
So then when we go up
And
to pay,
Meanwhile, you wonder why the toothpaste is behind
Yeah.
locked glass, right?
So then when we go up to pay, we found this dude. So
Another dude.
by the fishing rod, we found this dude picking up some gasoline and stuff. He went to the checkout where we were, and then he got
he had a candy
was
bar.
leaving. Yeah, candy bar, drinking gasoline. He was walking out.
A gas can.
He had his ticket in his hand. 5 workers came up on him and were like, "You can't leave
Because
because
he stole a candy
Let
bar.
us see your receipt. Here's I paid for my stuff. You guys, y'all seen me
The
pay for
receipt was
it. There's a
right
candy
there.
bar, a soda, and there was something else. I didn't realize it was a gas can. And they went, whoop, and the guy went down. Like,
Well, yeah,
what
because
the heck?
they have a lot. They can't let too much leave the store.
Oh, yeah.
But
We're not going to chase the guy.
If he would have
Or it was
got
a
on the
candy
bike
bar.
and rode out the front door with the stuff, it would have been okay.
Yeah.
Oh, no. But
And
the
I was
thing
just like,
is-
stay close to me. Just stay
But
close
the
to
thing
me.
is, they chased after this dude who had a receipt in his hand and just got accused of, instead of chasing
The guy
dude
with that-
who stole the bike.
Yeah.
Yes,
He
we
was
know.
like, call the cops. I ain't showing you my receipt. I'll show it to the police.
No, my goodness.
And the aggression.
Now
just got
that
worse
is
and worse.
embarrassing. Like Corey, my brother, he's been on the podcast a few times. He's like that. When they first started doing receipts, he's like, "Nope, I purchased this. I have no contract with you to show you my receipt. I'm walking out without it." I'm like, "Just show your receipt. You didn't steal anything. I'm not showing my receipt. I'm not." And he
what my
just
grandma
walked
would
past
do.
He
us.
did that with me and Ray.
Yeah, unless you're gonna pay.
Store.
Yeah, unless you're gonna pay me to be a checker, and that's what, like, a lot of times when they say, "Well, you can use this one, this self checkout." Something, it's like, I didn't go to school for this. I didn't. You're not paying me. I don't want to check my own stuff out.
I think that superintendent was like scanning like.
Yeah, putting different scanners on.
Yeah,
the
she was scanning everything she was buying, but it was a different barcode.
So, guys, that's our boo of the week.
It was
Alright.
I stole a can of nuts. If they want to know.
He's so guilty he
Were they
has to
good?
confess.
Yes, they were Planters mixed nuts,
Yeah.
lightly salted. I highly recommend. 5 stars.
5 stars. I don't trust his 5 stars. They're
Right?
the worst nuts on the planet.
Not if they're planters.
I don't know.
Thumbs up.
They were good.
I like the honey roasted Planters nuts.
Oh,
They're good.
I love
are
those
good.
Brazil nuts and macadamians.
So, you know, it's funny. Heather's cousin, her husband, used to work for Blue Diamond, right? Worked for Blue Diamond. And so nuts are supposed to be healthy for you, right? Well, he's gaining weight. And he's trying to figure out, well, I'm not real sure why I'm gaining all this weight. I'm eating nothing but nuts. Well, come to find out, they're the chocolate-covered nuts
Yeah.
that he
Oh,
was
that's not
eating.
gonna work.
So his hands grabbed him.
He's like, he's not blonde, but he's like the male version of like the dumb blonde,
Uh-huh.
like, you know. And he's like,
himbo.
yeah, I just don't. I mean, he's like, oh, they're so good, especially those chocolate ones. And we're like, okay, Peter, that's why you're gaining all the weight. Are you kidding us?
I actually can't eat nuts. I'm
I
allergic
was
to
just
them.
gonna say, I bet you're
Oh,
allergic to
no.
nuts. aren't you?
I'm allergic to like everything. Like
Yeah.
Not peanuts though.
not peanuts,
My
Good.
papa
but
works at
specifically
Cortez
ones that grow on
Growers.
trees.
So
He brings home grocery bags of
Oh,
almonds
Oh,
every
nice.
year.
I love that. I
Wait,
would love that.
and you live with him?
no.
I don't
they-
live with him, but I
no.
see him like every week. So
Mhm.
yeah, I just get my fair share of
Yeah,
almonds.
share. You can share.
Yeah.
So our son Corey,
Yeah.
he found out that he was allergic. He took this test, right? He
Well,
took a
while
series
he
of
was
tests,
overseas,
and he was telling us that all these different nuts that he's.
he was
That he
never
was-
allergic to nuts growing up.
that he was
But
allergic
he's a
to.
field medic, and they were bored, so they were playing with the nut.
Yeah.
Like,
They were playing with the allergy.
allergy test.
So I finally determined that he's just allergic to the test.
Yeah.
Is what it was.
He,
But
while I
he
was
came
there
back
this
allergic
last
to
month, he was-
every kind of nut. But that's when he come back and he's telling us that no, I'm literally allergic to every kind of tree nut. Or he didn't just say tree nut. He's like, I'm allergic to every kind of nut. And then during that same time, he was having like a testicular cancer scare. And we're like, dang, even your own. Like, you're allergic to every kind of nut.
I'm getting allergy because I don't know. Like I've never been allergy tested. I just like
Know what makes you
know
not
because
feel
I've
good.
eaten it and I've gotten hives.
Oh,
And so I'm actually like getting like genuinely allergy tested next month, and
That'd be
I
good.
just know it's gonna be like everything.
Yeah. Kason got allergy tested, and I felt horrible, like as a because I'm not allergic to anything. Chris ain't really allergic to anything, and they did. But Kason gets hives all the time, and we did. We kind of assumed red dyes he was allergic to, but when they did that allergy test, everything blew up on his back except for dogs and horses. But everything else was allergic.
Oh, but like
So
one time when I was, do you remember this? But one time when I was like 4, we went to the lobster place in like Louisiana,
Uh-huh.
and I got bored and I wanted to do Kayson's makeup, but I didn't have yours. We went over to another table. We took the hot sauce.
Yeah, and the ketchup. She took hot sauce and ketchup and face painted him, and because he's allergic to the red dye, or like his face was everything she painted stayed on him for a week. Like
I mean,
it was
well, no, because it makes
Kid.
sense. There's a chemical in hot sauce. It's capsaicin. Capsaicin causes mild allergic reaction.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
what
his
spicy
was
is.
so
It's just like a little allergic
don't open the door.
reaction. So when you put that on your face, it causes inflammation.
Oh my goodness.
So guys, that
That's why your
brings
lips
up
go down.
another one.
Hi, Corinne.
Bye.
Thanks for having me.
Go ahead, Big Amp.
Okay, so speaking of, you were saying that it was Kayson's face that
Yeah.
turned red, right? Because of the dyes. So I almost did this tonight, and I thought that I would move on to something else. But since you guys brought up this, it reminded me of this story, and I'm going to go ahead and share it with you. So, Joey Miller and Matthew McNelly, these men they were behind likely the worst and least thought out disguise in criminal history. They committed their misdeed without a mask, without hoods. Instead, our two geniuses decided to go ahead and rob a store using permanent marker on their face.
Goodness. Oh, wow. What a disguise.
Yes, they were easily identified later in a lineup
With the marketing.
with the
still
marketing
on.
still on there, because permanent marker
Who
is
could've-
extremely hard to get off of your skin.
Who could have done it?
See that name, McNelly? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
I feel like you've used that name like 5 or 6 times. So this must be a common.
They must be a relative of Dave's.
It's all the
Yeah,
same
right.
guy.
So you guys were talking about what you call it, a blonde guy or
Uh-huh.
something. Okay, so this is also something that I found out today too, going through these lists. They called that a Kevin.
Oh,
Oh.
Kevin.
I didn't know that.
I did know that. I
Did you?
They call that a Kevin.
Like a ditzy
like a
male?
ditzy man. Yeah,
Oh,
a
I didn't
ditzy
know
man.
that.
I never knew that either until today. But there's like 8 stories that refer back to a Kevin.
Okay.
So
that's like the.
you'll hear
I'm gonna
those
have to tell
later
Kevin
on
that.
in the season.
Our neighbor Kevin.
All right, Nanny Janny, do you have a paranormal story you'd like to share with
don't
us?
have a paranormal story, but I have something better.
What's
you know how I
that?
like to delve into things. So we were talking about the kids and the things that they can reminisce about or say or do or remember kids talking about things.
Yeah.
And as you know, I was one of those kids, and your daughter is one, and what have you not. So, to look out into the land of the web, there are so many other stories out there, and there's actually a case study that was done on one in particular gentleman or child, I'm sorry. But it says, first of all, children who believe that they lived in another life are often referred to as having a past life memories and typically describe detailed experiences from a previous existence, sometimes including specific names, locations, even the cause of their death, often occurring between the ages of 2 and 5, which I'll get into this more in a little bit, but when one of Corinne had said that, do you remember I seen Jesus? I was at the bottom of the water.
Yeah, well, the
bottom
first
of
time we
lake,"
were
and
ever
so-
going to like a Christmas thing, and I was trying to explain to her about the story of the first Christmas of Jesus or whatever, and she's like, "Oh, I know Jesus. I seen him when I was at the bottom of the lake." And I was like, "You've never been to the bottom of the lake?" "Not in this life, in my last life." And she was only
Right.
2 or 3 at the time, not even old enough to say those words. I was like, "Ooh, that's weird. I don't like that at all."
I used to describe my own birth back to my mother.
Oh,
That is weird. So the, children might have said they had a different family in a previous life, lived in a different place, and there's lots of recordings. When you go on Google, there's lots. I was watching them up until the time you guys walked in different stories, and it's really like there was 3 or 4 of them that I was watching where the children, the boys, it was boys
Yeah, most boys will remember it, is what you're getting.
Yeah, and they're saying like the war stories, or they would be having nightmares. One lady said she had a son after trying for a long time. They had a son, and first they tried for 14 months and they conceived, and halfway through the pregnancy she had a miscarriage, and then 10 months later she got pregnant again. And when this boy started telling her the story, he was like 3 years old. He was saying, I lived in a castle in the sky. My castle was blue, but I was afraid. I came to you before. I was going to come before, but then I got scared. Well, he was actually telling her that she was pregnant with him, and he got scared. He was afraid to come
Oh, how weird.
live with them.
That's creepy, yeah.
And so, but then he decided that they would be the perfect parents for him and came again.
Oh,
So it was kind of weird to, like, as a parent or somebody that wanted a child that much, and then not be able to have one, and then have a child say, "Oh, I was with you twice." Like that is, it's not paranormal, but it is really
Well,
weird,
yeah, it's
creepy
that's
to know.
pretty
that-
paranormal. I mean, so past lives is definitely paranormal.
That's
So-
funny because if I picked my parents, I would not have picked my parents.
If I got to pick my parents, yeah, I'm pretty sure I would have picked. I mean, sorry, you guys are all right.
Wow.
I mean, come on, if we got to pick our parents, I feel like I'd pick a billionaire or
That's
something
what I
like
was
that.
thinking. Billionaire.
Yes.
I would not be in the camper or in chilling out.
Or the man cave out here with all.
I'd be staying at the Hilton.
Well, you've stayed at the Hilton a few times.
Oh yeah, but I mean, like, because my daddy owned it, not because.
You'd be bored.
Yeah.
Everybody has issues.
You would be bored.
So this last week I came across a story that, and we're gonna try to get the family on the podcast, but it kind of goes in with this, even though it's not from a past life. But
It's
this family they were up in Yosemite, and I don't know if they were doing ATVs. I don't have my phone on me, so I can't look it up. But they were up in Yosemite, and they were doing some kind of outing as a family, and the little boy kept saying, "Mom, we have to help the lady with the blue hair. We have to help the lady with the blue hair and the black shirt." And there was nobody
That's
there.
what I was going to say, Sarah.
Yeah, there was nobody there. But on the way home, he was just so adamant, like, we have to help her. She's face down in the water, and she needs the help. And she got blue hair, and she got a black shirt, and I don't know her name, but she needs help. And the little boy would not give up on it. And the mother got an eerie feeling about it, and I don't know if she ended up contacting the news, but the news ran the story about the little boy having this experience, because the mom was convinced that maybe he was seeing a ghost or something, right? Well, come to find out, there was a woman missing that was last seen in the area where they were, and I think it was from Madera County, missing, last seen in the area that they were, and she had blue hair and she was wearing a black shirt. So, like,
And
the
did they
boy,
find her?
I don't know the story. We have to go back, but I do know that it was from Madera County.
Why did
so we're
you
gonna
bring
get
it
the
up?
family. Set up. I was on my phone.
Now
but
we're
just-
gonna need the
answers.
we are gonna get them on the podcast so that they can share the whole story with us.
Good deal.
But anyways, it is like kids just pick up like things that adults don't pay attention to.
Right.
So I do feel like if there's something, I don't know, if there's something out there, kids are definitely more prone to see it. We kind of turn our. What about you guys? Have you guys had any paranormal experiences?
I'm kind of like ghost agnostic.
I've had.
I like, they could exist. They could not exist.
Yeah.
I'm not like an active ghost believer, just most of the evidence I've seen has kind of just been ruled out by something else.
Right.
And then all of the personal experience I thought I had, and then I got diagnosed with psychosis. So, like,
yeah.
and ever since I started taking my medication, it hasn't happened, so, like,
Yeah, that makes sense.
it's
So-
kind of, I'm kind
Are
of
you
skeptical.
saying I should be medicated?
Maybe. Yeah. What do you think, Julie?
Because growing up, I lived in a house that the previous renters were, like, one of them was murdered in it.
Oh, yeah.
And so, I've had a couple paranormal experiences. One of the most, like, I guess obvious ones is really funny. I was going into my room and I was shutting my door, and it felt like I was slamming my door into a person. I kept opening it, closing it, and as a joke, I was like, "Oh, haha!" I was like, opened it. I was like, "Come on in." Shut perfectly fine.
Oh, you invited him in.
Why would you do that?
Ghost was chill. I don't know.
Come
I was
on
like,
in.
oh my god.
Didn't do anything
you're
to me
the person
personally.
who dies first in a horror movie?
You,
No, I'm too chill with
you
the
don't
ghosts.
ever invite them in.
No, I just bring a good vibe.
Oh, goodness. So, what about you, Max?
I got enough experience that Ouija boards are not allowed in my house.
Yeah.
Oh.
I was just
Right.
going to ask that because a couple episodes back we were talking about Ouija board experiences. So somebody who's kind of not thinking you believe in ghosts,
Yeah.
would you play the Ouija board? Have you
I
played it?
absolutely would.
Yeah.
I've wanted to,
It-
but no one
never
wants
where
to.
I am.
Yeah.
Never go out to like the middle of a field somewhere, and I don't want to know.
That's-
Not even the
Right.
same county.
I would. If you ever do an episode where you play one, you can invite
No, I
me.
can't do that. I'm afraid of everything.
I-
you can play it. You can record it.
I've
and I can
never
put it on the
used a
podcast.
Ouija board, but I have what is known as like Murphy's Law bad luck,
Yeah.
and also previous experience with things that go bump in the night. So if I ever did use a Ouija board, there's no way I'm not dying. There's no way something is not killing me
Somebody's
that
going to
night.
say, are you going to kill us? Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
I know one of the rules is don't play it by yourself, and I'm gonna follow the rules. Obviously, I'm like I said, ghost agnostic. They could exist, and therefore, I'm not trying to like.
Right.
Keep 'em off.
You're not trying to invite
I'm
them
not trying to
in.
piss them off and like have them.
Right. Just
Get
say
me.
live cohesive.
I've got.
But I talked to 'em.
I've got this one story. Okay, I can. This isn't ghost specifically, but
Right.
it's definitely not human. Whatever it was. And actually, somebody did die the next day, so
Oh, no.
maybe it is ghost.
Premonition.
We went out to the reservoir in, is it Modesto? The
Yes.
Modesto Reservoir?
Yeah.
So we went out to the Modesto Reservoir to go camping. And I don't know if you've ever been to the Modesto Reservoir, but it has the most disgusting water in the world.
Mhm.
It is so murky you can't see past the top about 2.5
I'm going to
inches.
say there's two places more nastier, but
Yeah, somebody like is one of them. No, you can't see past about 2.5 inches in the water. It's almost entirely like goose poop and sludge. It's awful. And so I had been swimming, but I am not a strong swimmer. I have really bad asthma, and so I can't go fast.
Right.
And I try not to go deep because if something happens, I can't get out. So I was swimming about 5 or 6 feet into the water, and I was kind of on my own because I don't like my family. So they were swimming somewhere else.
But you're there with your family.
Are we editing that part out? Or do they know you don't
No,
like
that's gonna be a clip.
No,
Jerry.
it's fine.
That's
No,
what
I
we're
actually
advertising
stopped
about.
camping with them after this because of what they did that trip.
Uh-huh.
They decided to pull a prank on us while we were in the water, and I just said I can't swim. So I was in the water, and they said, "Get out of the water, there's something in the water," and I almost drowned trying to get out of the water.
That's not right.
Yeah, so I stopped camping after that. But it wouldn't have mattered anyway, because the thing I saw in the water was the most terrifying part. The day before they decided to pull that prank, I had been in the water, and I saw something about 10 feet from me. Now imagine like a buoy, like a metal buoy.
Mm-hmm.
Now imagine it kind of looked like a big bald human head about like this much out of the water.
Oh.
Like
Ew.
it didn't look like skin. It was round and skin covered. And for the record, we were the only people in our area for about, I want to say, 100 feet. It kind of just sat there for a minute, bobbing in the water, and then it dunked down under the water really fast. And I was standing semi-close to the shore because I can't swim. I backed up a couple feet so I could see my toes, and I kind of just watched that area, and it never came back up.
Oh.
The spot we were in was a little, kind of like, what's the cul-de-sac, but of the water. There's a word for it.
I don't know, like
It's
a
cove.
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 Yeah.
Yeah, so we were in like that. You could see everything from where we were. We were, it was from us outwards.
Oh my goodness.
And nothing ever came up within eyesight from where I was standing. It just disappeared underneath and never came back up. And it was terrifying.
So you're like, I ain't going back in
I was
there.
like, I'm not
Gary, you
going
spent a
anywhere.
lot
I
of time
can't
on the water.
see
What
my
did she see?
feet.
What was it?
Carp.
Carp.
Guessing.
It was huge.
Yeah.
It like, diameter-wise, I'd have to give it 2.5 feet.
That could have been a catfish.
It was perfectly
Well,
round.
maybe not that.
No, it was perfectly round. It was
Oh,
an
I
orb.
don't know if it's round.
It was an
That's-
orb.
A
It was
really
a
fat
fleshy-
fish.
It was a
Yeah.
fleshy
Submarine.
orb.
What it was? The aliens that live in the
Yeah.
water.
I don't know. Day before that, I found a fish hook this long,
Oh, jeez.
Oh, no.
picked it up with my feet.
Oh. Yeah, that's not
You had
good.
bad luck.
Tried to
Yeah.
take it to the shore to get it out of the water, dropped it.
Oh no.
It's still in there somewhere.
Oh.
I never got it out.
Well, I was metally checking in there, and yeah, it's a nasty bottom. You know, so I'd snorkel and there's a lot of square nails down in there. So I don't know what it was before they filled it, but it
Right.
was some type of old construction.
Right.
Day after
It was
that,
a town.
a couple people went
It
out on a
probably
boat.
was. Yeah.
Day after that, a couple people went out on the boat, and I guess somebody fell into the water, drowned.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah.
Dude, I've also, like, I
The
don't
day
know
we were
why,
leaving.
but I don't remember what lake it was, but I've also been to a lake, and the next day someone drowned.
Mm-hmm.
Like-
We were like packing our tents into the car. We got somebody down the way was like upset, and we were like, "Hey, what's going on?" And they're like, "Somebody's little girl just drowned."
That's
Oh,
scary.
Was this just a couple years ago?
Oh, this was
That's awful.
my freshman year of
is.
high school. I want to say it was probably about 8 years ago.
Yeah. It's sad. I don't like that. I don't like hearing little. I mean, nobody should drown. That's a horrible way to
Thanks
go.
for making this a
but
happy
kids.
podcast, Max.
We're talking about
What a downer.
we're talking about dead people. Inherently, ghosts are
Dead people are so
And they
happy.
attached to her, and
Y'all
she
gotta
came
get
home
used to
and-
the whole being dead thing.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Beetlejuice reference.
Speaking of being dead, what do you think about letting kids see? Like, if you're at an open casket funeral, do you think you should let your kids see or not see?
If it's a
body?
relative, close relative.
I have no clue. I
I
don't
don't know
plan to have
either.
children, so I
Yeah.
would.
What do you think? What would your parents have done if you were?
I
young?
mean, I've seen. My parents let me see it, so
I've never been to a funeral
It's a part
before.
of life.
Yeah.
I think that
Yeah.
kids
I think it
need to
depends
have
on how, like,
closure too. I think
messed
kids
up.
need to understand
Yeah.
them.
yeah.
You know, 100 years ago, if somebody in your family died, you brought them into the kitchen table and you prepped them for the burial. You know, they were on the table.
Actually,
and you
they
prepped
used to
them.
take pictures with them.
Yeah.
They used to.
That's
They
true.
used
A
to
weird thing
prep
with my
the dead
family
body.
is I've had death in my family. It's just I was never allowed to go to the funeral.
oh, so you just weren't like allowed to go at all?
I just wasn't allowed to
Same.
go.
Literally exactly the same. I was very upset about it. I was probably about 6, and my favorite grandmother died, and they didn't tell me until months after she had died.
Oh.
And I was like, "You mean I never even got to go say goodbye?" I was so mad about
Right.
that.
Right.
I've
So
been.
I think it's a part of life. I think that
I think you
children
should just ask the
experience
kid,
it.
"Do
Yeah.
you want to go?"
Right.
Yeah, that's kind of what.
Just,
I
like, be aware you will see a dead body. Do you want to go?
Right.
I've been to 2 funerals, and one of them was for my great grandma, who I was very close with, and the other one was for a relative that, like, I had barely known. And also their entire funeral was in Spanish because they were, like, Hispanic.
Right.
And so I didn't want to go because, like, I didn't know them. I'm going to be sitting there for, like, 3 hours. And I didn't even know the funeral was going to be in Spanish. So I'm sitting there, and I have nothing. Like, my dad wouldn't let me, like, play on my DS or anything because he was like, that's rude. So I just sat there and stared at the back of the chair and listened to just nonsense because I don't understand Spanish. It was like, I felt bad, obviously, because, like, my family knew them.
Right,
but I didn't.
Right.
I'd met him, like, maybe 3 times.
So it just wasn't the place for you.
Yeah, so I was just sitting there.
But at your great-grandmother's,
Yeah.
you got to say goodbye and there was closure.
Yeah. That was fine. I just, like, I didn't know the person very well, and I also don't understand
I
Spanish.
definitely think you shouldn't take kids to a funeral of just, like, some random...
Right.
Yeah.
Like, if it's just your friend
It
from work
has to
or
be someone the
something,
kid
like,
cares about.
Yeah.
I know I was an adult and I went to my grandpa's funeral. You were born. Big little Anthony, I don't know if Corey was. This one got me. When I went in, I got the giggles.
Yeah.
So we're at a funeral for my grandpa who raised me, and I got the giggles.
Yeah.
And then Jeff, my cousin, was there, and he looked at me, and we both started laughing, and I couldn't, like, so all my aunts and uncles are sitting down, and I'm giggling in the back. It just was not appropriate.
So we just had my grandma's funeral on Friday, and that's why there's no episode from last Friday, because we didn't get it shot and we didn't get it out. But my grandpa's, like, devastated. He lost the love of his life. They were together 60-ish years, and my aunt's husband is sitting right behind him, and he talks a lot. But he's sitting right behind him in his ear, and he would not stop talking about, like, the trucking company or the dump or whatever, like, off-the-wall thing. My grandpa had to turn back around. And, like, 3 or 4 times was like, shut up.
I would have gone
I
off.
told him that they said that. They said he wouldn't have said shit. I said, I think he did.
Yeah.
Like, you need to focus. There's a lot going
Like,
on.
if it's my wife's funeral, like, if it was your funeral,
Yeah.
and someone started doing that, I would tell them off. I would be like,
well, he
shut the
kind
F
of
up.
was, like, he said it nicely a few times, and finally, like, his face was turning over. You could just tell he was just pissed. Like, and I was thinking,
That's so
come on.
So the
disrespectful.
next day when I was saying that to my brother-in-laws, saying, well, you weren't the favorite because you got yelled at. You got scolded in church. And Gino said, I know. And Bobby said, we didn't get yelled. I said, yes, you did. He never, because he kept on
It never
talking.
even phased him. No, it never phased him.
Some people are like that.
Yeah.
That's a Kevin.
He comes from a good family.
Yeah,
that I think the whole...
Kevin.
Bobby has 7 sisters. I think they're all like... They're just talkers, and they just don't know, like...
Church and in the funeral is not the place to do it.
Yeah.
But what Heather's kids did see Grandma, and Kinson was very concerned because she had a heart attack. They said her heart stopped, not that she had a heart attack. And because Corinne has heart conditions, she was concerned about it. So Heather, held her up to the casket. And then Jojo, at some point in time when we're in the viewing, the door comes slamming open. He comes in, running in,
And we tried to pull him out. But the
And
day
then he
before,
said-
he looked over, and I was like, shh, there's your grandma. There's Gima. He looks over, he goes, oh, that grandma? She's dead. I'm like, okay.
One time
any
somebody picked him
interaction
up
I've
and he
had with
said,
that kid, he's
one time
hilarious.
somebody had picked him up and he said, take me to my grandma.
Yeah.
So they'd walked over to the casket so he could see, but it wasn't traumatizing to him. He understood. Like you said, he said.
He's little.
But, and maybe some people would have thought it was not appropriate, but I do
my
believe
cousin,
the history.
my cousin has kids, the 4 kids, and they're almost the exact same age. But she did not let her kids see, and I think I kind of got judged because my kids got to see. But
I don't think you should be judged.
Yeah,
Well,
I
also
think
in
they-
the same
we did ask him ahead
atmosphere,
of time.
they had Kinson, who is 5 years old, went up to the casket, put on her knees, and prayed. You know what I'm saying? With her funeral glasses on.
Yeah.
But
So do you guys know that there's funeral etiquette according to my 5-year-old? If you are going to go to a funeral, because we took her shopping for a dress, and she goes, well, can I get some funeral glasses? And I was like, oh, okay, we'll get funeral glasses. I put on a pair of
What are
glasses.
funeral glasses?
Well, I put on a pair of glasses, and I say, will these work for me? And she's like, have you never been to a funeral? And she's 5, right? So it's like, how many funerals have you gone to? And she goes, they have to be dark. All black, so
This is what
people
she
don't
sees on
see you
TV.
crying. Oh, okay, that makes sense, she said.
Yeah, I've seen sunglasses at funerals. She must have watched Beetlejuice too.
Yeah.
They do actually wear sunglasses
I'm
at
thinking
funerals.
too. I think that might be where it came from,
Right.
actually.
what's funny, then the next day at the church, little Anthony, her uncle has a pair of dark sunglasses on, and I can't remember where he had them at. They weren't on his head, but she's like, let me see those.
Yeah.
And then she went over and had them on her face, and she said, this is what funeral glasses look like, because they were dark, blacked out.
But I do think everything about, like, because she needed a little purse to carry her tissues. She ahead of time she had this plan. I'm gonna need tissues. I'm gonna cry, and I need glasses. I'm gonna cry.
And a black purse.
Everything about her screamed like Lydia or whatever the baby is, Lydia's daughter.
Astrid.
Like Astrid. Everything. I was like, okay, she's watched Beetlejuice.
I have a question. So this is something that my family did, but I've told it to other people and they find it really strange. Do you have like a big banquet together after the funeral?
Yeah, we did.
We actually
Okay.
did, yeah.
Some people think that's really weird, and I've always done it, so I've never thought it was like weird. But
No,
we
we
just
didn't.
all go to like a room and
Grieving
eat.
makes you hungry.
Yeah, we do. We did. So what I did find weird is what happened to the old days where like, or I don't know the movies
Everybody
I
brought
watched.
something,
They bring food to the grieving family.
So it used to be a potluck. Yeah. Oh, you used to bring. So
Yes, to the house.
the reason they
Because
do
everything was
that
prepped
though
at the
is
house.
because at the services it's usually a church service.
Yeah.
And you can only do so much. You can't. There's no talking or whatever in church or whatever. So afterwards, you would gather so you can
Reminiscing.
share your stories, your feelings. You know, everybody gets an opportunity to
And
grieve
a lot of
together.
family comes in from out of town, or
But in the
Yeah.
past, they used to go to the house or whatever, and they would bring potluck. But
But
my
now,
dad didn't.
but
My
now
dad
they're
didn't.
catered events. Like you spend as much as you would. To
Well,
do
my
a
dad
wedding.
did not want anybody at the house, and he didn't want anybody to feel like they had to bring. Because most of our family lives out of town,
Yeah.
so they had to travel. So he had it catered. He did, and we have a good friend who stepped up to the plate. He's a caterer, and he did it.
give them a plug.
Well, he doesn't normally do that for people, so he really didn't want me to tell anybody that he did it. But he stepped up to the plate, and he did it just for the cost of the food. And, we're going to bump him up some money. But I mean, that was, for anybody else, it was 350 people. It would have been a $12,000 bill. Yeah, I mean, you're looking at $25 a person, minimum.
Because my grandpa insisted that there had to be. He's like, we need a meat and a chicken. I'm like,
Beef
is it
steak.
chicken is meat?
I don't even remember what we ate because I was like really little. I just remember I would just eat off the charcuterie board, like with the little like crackers and the cheese. That's all I would eat.
Yeah.
I would just eat like the entire
What do you eat at a
charcuterie board.
funeral?
I don't
Well,
know.
let me tell you what was
Taco
fun
Bell.
about this one.
Scallop
We
cake.
actually had an
Dinner
ice
side.
cream truck outside.
Oh yeah, there was an ice cream truck.
Nothing like crying into your ice cream.
So
I wanted an
as
ice
people
cream
were
truck at
walking
my
up and it
funeral.
looked like we were having a carnival there,
Right.
we had to explain that my
Bouncy
mom
houses.
was
Well, that's what I
a
said. We,
she loved soft serve ice cream.
What flavors
and
did they
pizza,
have?
and I
They
think
had
we-
chocolate, vanilla, and
and
mixed.
toppings.
And then they had a
And
bunch of
then toppings.
toppings.
There's actually a chemical in chocolate that works as an antidepressant.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Maybe
that's
that's why
why
it's
you
so
crave
much
chocolate
chocolate.
when you're sad.
Nice.
Max
Dark
knows
chocolate.
all of the like little fun fact things
Yeah.
about
That's,
life.
Nice.
that's why I'm addicted to C's.
Max knows fun
chocolate.
fact things about life. I know fun fact things about animals.
Oh.
Like I know so much about animals.
Yeah.
I love going to the zoo. It's like my favorite activity.
So when you go on vacation, do you go make it a point to go see other zoos in other states?
I've never been to most other states, honestly.
Like,
I don't.
Like, it's like
We're
I
gonna
don't
have to
go on
get you traveling.
vacation.
You've been to Nevada, right?
Yeah.
That's about it.
Yeah, Nevada. My dad used to live in Florida, but we never did much of anything
I've
there.
been to Nevada once and Oregon once.
No, you guys
Yeah,
need
I
to
don't-
travel. There's so many beautiful things in this country.
It's
you
mostly
need to
like
go see.
money. I don't
If
have
you
the money to
if
do
you
that right
wanna,
now. We're going to Ohio this summer though. Julie's
Nice.
actually performing.
Oh,
Nice.
Yeah, it's in this small town called Sabina. It's called Flow Fest. It's a charity event, so if you live in Ohio, anywhere near Sabina, come by. I'm going to be selling merch there. All the funds from the merch I'm selling are going to the foundation that is sponsoring the event. Or
What is it? Do you know?
what the
Do you know what
foundation
the
it's there's a couple that are in rotation right now. It's for suicide prevention because the whole
Yeah.
reason
Is it out of the
Uh,
darkness?
I don't think so. But the whole reason all the artists for FlowFest have gathered is because one of our old friends, Cardia, has killed himself. And so, we try and make it a point once a year. Well, I didn't go to the last one.
So when
But-
is this going to take place? Do you know?
June 7th, the day after my birthday.
Nice.
Oh, cool.
Nice. So there's your plug, guys.
Happy
Here-
birthday.
Where's it at again?
Sabina, Ohio.
Sabina, Ohio. Are you driving? You guys driving or flying?
Driving.
Nice.
I'm having a
Yeah,
friend
so much
driving
fun.
us.
Yeah, take the time and sightsee on your way.
Yeah.
Or on the
And
way
take
back.
Micah to see some animals.
Yes.
Yay!
You know what? We go to zoos all the time, though. I think almost every state we've been to.
I love
to
going
drive
to the
to zoos.
Fresno Zoo. The Fresno Zoo is my favorite. They have a stingray pool, and I love stingrays. I actually, for my 18th birthday, my grandma paid for me to do like a behind the scenes thing where I could get in the water with the stingrays
cool.
and feed them and like learn how they train them. And there's sharks in there too. There's like nurse sharks and
I feel
stuff.
so bad for going to that and then not getting in the water with you.
No. You picked up a ticket and didn't do it?
No, my brother just did it with me instead.
Oh.
But
I'm just saying, ever since, what was that guy? The crocodile
yeah,
guy?
yeah.
Ever since he died from getting stung by a stingray, I just stay away from him.
that's like a 1 in a million chance though. Most stingrays like won't.
Hey, I'm a 1 in a million type of guy.
I also have that kind of luck.
All right?
I think they're very sweet.
I was like today years old when I realized that that's the same type of animal. Those little things that we touch in the
Not
water.
an
Is,
animal, but
They're
Wow.
such sweet animals. There's this one.
no, that's what killed the crocodile.
It was
guy?
it was a bigger one.
Yeah.
Long tails, and it
But,
hit him.
It poked him in the heart, didn't it?
Yeah, and he
Yeah.
panicked and pulled it, because I don't know what else he would have done.
Right.
And they said after he pulled it out, they just saw him float to the top.
But there's this one specific stingray that has a crooked tail. I don't remember his name, but he always, every time I'm there, will come and I'll leave my hand in the water and he'll like get like the little pet and he'll swim back around to get more.
Oh,
He's
see.
such a sweet animal. I love him so much.
Aw.
I go a lot. I love going there. They like, it's so cool. I follow their like pages and stuff and keep up with the animals. And one of the lions actually had cubs recently. And they're so cute.
All right, before we move on, Nanny Jenny, are you done with your paranormal
Yeah,
story?
there was actually a couple of them that I was going to share about the water one, but you guys kind of hit it already. The more than one child has said that they were underwater. They
Yeah.
were underwater. That was in their past life. That was how they ended their past life or whatever. They
I've
remembered
heard
being underwater.
that birthmarks could be a symbol from your like past life, like
How you died.
I have a birthmark in my belly button.
And I was
that is a weird spot. to
Inside
have.
of your belly button. How do you know that?
Because I have an innie. It's in there.
even more so. How do you know
See
that? But when I was reading that, it reminded me. Heather's going to think, "Oh, it's aliens bringing them back."
Yeah.
where do you want to go?
Yeah. The aliens that we now know live
Beam
in
me
the
up,
water
Scotty.
and not in outer space.
Disclosure is coming.
Yeah. All right.
I'm more scared of aliens than ghosts. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm more scared
Yeah,
of
same.
aliens than ghosts.
Same. I think I would agree with that too. Just
Oh
because you don't know.
no! Intangible dead guys in my house.
I'm more afraid of
Alien, though?
actual people than either one
No,
of them.
not me.
Yeah.
I feel like I can handle people. Like you can fight them, you can out. But the stuff that you
Outwit
don't
'em.
know, like that's the
Space
stuff
aliens.
I don't
The unknown,
like.
yeah.
Yeah. And I feel like I'm kind of the same. I'm more afraid of the aliens.
My first ever horror movie that I can remember was Signs.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Didn't like that movie, not one bit.
Yep. Signs, but Fourth Kind really messed me up. Actually, did you watch Fourth Kind?
I probably did, but I don't remember
Oh, you
it.
guys should watch Fourth Kind tonight. It's not necessarily the scare. It's the fact that afterwards you're thinking all the missing people that you've ever heard of, they were taken by aliens. They were not. Like,
I remember Independence Day, I think.
oh yeah, that's
That
more
one.
like fun.
Uh-uh.
No,
That was a fun movie.
That
It was
was
actually
fun.
a
That was back in Will Smith's prime when he
Yeah.
was doing all those movies back to back.
Where he
to
is
back.
slapping people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's another one, I can't remember what it's called. It's like 5 different waves of invasion.
Oh.
And as it goes
The
on, it just
fifth
gets
wave?
more, it gets
Yeah.
more and more devastating. Oh my goodness.
Kind of sounds
that
like that would
movie.
be.
Sounds like that'd be a good title. Did you just make
Yeah.
that up, Gary?
No, it's an honest title, and it was a popular book.
If he says it's a 5-star, we're gonna know that.
I want to say I listened to the audio book, but I don't remember anything about it. But I think it was good.
I just remember, I don't
5
remember.
stars.
5 star.
5 stars.
I don't remember details. I just remember it being terrifying.
It was
Yeah.
probably amazing.
I don't like
If
aliens.
Gary can't recite it, it was probably the best thing on the
Literally.
Just like his own movie.
That's right.
Which, by the way, we need to talk about, but we'll off podcast probably. But yeah, the clip. We need some. Cut the leg open.
Yeah, no, we got
Okay,
some more
okay.
scenes we got to add in there. Yeah,
Oh,
no,
okay.
we absolutely. And then there's a blood effect. I just got tired. Like I've
Yeah.
already worked probably 6 hours on that clip, and then I got a
Okay,
little
yeah.
bit of blood when the grinder first taps your knee, and that little knee jerk you did was really good.
Yay!
And so it just kind of made it look like that blade actually went,
It's actually funny. It wasn't on purpose. Julie hit my knee, and you know when doctors take that hammer and
Yeah.
that was what she did.
Well, that's perfect because when that blade, it looks like some power was behind that blade, and so we got a little bit of blood in there.
Oh, that's good.
I'm not entirely in love with the effect yet, but it's something that I'm building on.
Okay.
And then after that, then it's going to be the task of motion tracking a stain on your pant leg that looks like a vertical cut.
Oh, so you're gonna digitally edit all that in. We're not gonna go through. We're not gonna redo it.
We're not going to actually cut her leg open?
Well,
Oh,
it's funny you said that. So we're actually going to, but I think for the close-up shots we can.
Yeah.
And then
We were trying to go get like ham and stuff the other day to like cut.
Yeah.
We had chicken on set.
We had
chicken,
but
and
the
then
dogs got a hold of
yeah,
it.
yeah, so
Bone
that,
and all. So.
but I think
keyword had.
This is a new freckle.
we're gonna go for a pig feet or something
Yeah,
that looks
we
like a
did.
calf muscle, and we could
That'd be cool.
dissect your leg that way.
Yay!
My grandma Tabby eats pickled pig feet.
Well, I was saying ham hock, and I think
Yeah.
I meant pickled pig feet because I think
Okay.
because a ham hock is like big, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And the pig feet are kind of calf looking,
Okay. Yeah.
right? So I'm thinking something like that.
So we will share a little clip of our movie.
You should go to a carniceria and see if they have any like fresh animals there, because sometimes they'll just have like whole limbs.
Well, I want it cooked. I want a little
You can
cooked.
cook it.
Pots.
We have pots. We got holes. We
I
can
guess
make
we have the
deep
ability. We could cook.
What,
this.
why do you
you
want
can-
it cooked?
Sometimes they have.
Just
So
so
we don't
nobody's
get
touching.
sick. We
So
don't
nobody's
get-
just touching
yeah.
wrong.
Sometimes they have fresh butchered animals there, so you can get like whole limbs. It's a butcher shop.
Okay, well,
Carniceria.
Maybe.
we'll check it out maybe. But yeah, we'll see.
I know the supermarket.
I certainly want to look at it. I'm not done
having
framing the
bone-in
scene
meat.
either.
Yeah.
Like
It looked-
some of it's too close. Like you had made a good point of saying when Nibbles comes into the shot to get the bone, we're not really sure what we're looking at or what character it is. So I may have to zoom out on that. There's some lighting elements that I want to switch up, but no, it's starting
Yeah,
to
that's
look like
cool.
something. I'm not certainly not finished with that scene.
Okay, so we're gonna play a game, all right?
Okay.
All right, with Micah first. And then
Did I
we'll
get
do
you?
next.
With the
As I
yawn?
said, you're contagious. I will not
I'm
be a
so
serial
sorry.
killer.
I'm gonna bring the chair just a little bit.
Do I need to get up?
No, I'm just gonna. I want to be able to see.
Oh.
No, I got it. All right, like, you want to stand or you want to stay seated?
I'll
Seating.
stay
I'm gonna give
seated.
you a scene. Oh, you might have to stand for this one.
Oh, I'm scared. Am I supposed to be moving around, or am I
Well,
supposed to
you
just
can
read it?
No, I was gonna give you a scene. I just wanted you to improv.
She could improv
Doing
from there.
improv.
Ready?
Do improv?
Well,
Oh.
it was gonna be you're a mermaid and it's your first day with legs.
Oh, yeah, just stay seated.
You know what? If you're a mermaid and you've never walked before, your instinct is to stay seated.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Did it!
Nailed
She's
it.
a natural.
Where's that? What is that? Hair on my legs? Where's the scales?
Next.
Don't
Improv.
look at me. Don't look at me.
Give her a scene.
You look in the mirror and your hair's been shaved.
Oh my god, Julie! Did you
Why
play
would
a
you-
prank on me in my sleep?
Why would you blame me, bro?
Who else was next to me? My hair was getting too long and you didn't like it, huh?
Yeah, I don't like long hair.
And you just shaved my head.
Yeah.
Dude,
Knew it.
you couldn't have asked me. There is a obvious better solution to this problem.
All right. Oh, look, we just found a baby on the side of the road.
Sorry, that's my main issue with improv is that I can't not immediately imagine it and then laugh.
I think we would just be like, dude, there's a baby.
Pull over.
Max would be like, keep going. It'll be okay.
No, there's a baby. Like, I would be like, dude, we gotta take it.
Somewhere.
Where do we take it? Where do we take the
The
baby?
baby place.
Yeah.
The fire station, guys.
You're in
the
class
fire
and you got
station.
caught passing notes. You have to read it. Your instructor says you have to read it out loud.
What did we have them do during their auditions? Because they would have.
I remember
You gave
walking
us
creepy.
lines to read. and,
Didn't you say? I guess we're one of
Yeah.
those.
Lines?
One of them was
Come one,
it's dinner.
come all, it's dinner time. Do your best, come one, come all, it's dinner time.
Come one, come all, it's dinner time.
Good job. Julie, do your best, come one, come all, it's dinner
Come
time.
one, come all, it's dinner time.
Yeah, that's a good Let's see your best come on.
Mine? Oh, goodness. Come on, it's dinner time! Come on.
Gary, let's see your best come on, it's dinner time.
No.
No.
We can't say come on, it's dinner time, but we can say it's garbage day.
There you go.
There you go.
Do you guys know what that is?
Nope.
Not even a little bit.
Nobody knows, Gary.
I
Apparently
do.
it's the best line.
You guys, you watched it.
I
You
watched it.
You say anything right and it can be funny. Even if...
What else do we have them do during their auditions? Yeah.
I just remember walking weird. You guys were like, walk as creepy as possible.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, okay.
I didn't know what I was doing because I've never like acted in anything
But
before.
you did great.
I was just doing it because they were kind of making me.
I was like, please, I don't want to be there alone. I got Maggie, but I want to be.
Part of my walk that I remember is waving at somebody like this.
I just
That was
remember
it.
doing my weird, creepy, like. I think it was you who said I'm like bird-like.
Oh,
where
yeah.
like.
Yeah.
That's what inspired the bird costume you
Yeah,
used.
that's actually what inspired my costume that I'm going to use next year.
All right, Max. Share with us your musical talent.
My musical talent.
Come on, and we love hearing you sing. Well, most of us do.
Somewhere
I know Leica
over
has
the
shut you up
rainbow.
a few times.
Wait, when?
You've been like, oh, she'll sing all day long.
That's like fake annoyance.
Oh.
You do so well at that. That's good acting.
I don't get very angry.
No, yeah.
It's teasing more than anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They also have
Like I
this.
tease
said, I
each other.
think you guys have a great sense of humor too, because I know that like I've joshed with her and thinking,
I need
oh,
a
she doesn't
song
really
to
take
sing.
it serious. Like some of the others get offended, and I like that we can just joke and have fun.
My mom is very, very, very sarcastic, so I'm just used to it. She gets scared that I get mad at her sometimes, and I'm like, dude, I'm not actually.
Because you'll just play along to the bit.
How long am I singing?
You can do as long as your heart desires.
I'm going to start with the chorus.
There you go.
Well, tell me the truth. You need me here, even though I made it clear. I'll take the blame. I let you in. It only cost everything. Oh, yeah.
Nice, good
Good.
job.
Very
good.
That's our Max.
Do not ask me to sing. I can't sing. I'm a screamer.
Oh.
That's what I do.
Screamer.
Is that the kind of music you do?
Uh-huh. Primarily.
What do you mean you're a screamer? Are you the one that was screaming in the haunt?
Yeah.
Was he?
Yeah.
Oh, no
All right.
way.
I love screaming.
I can't. I
What
don't
do you
think I'm
like?
capable.
How do you do that every night, all night long, without losing your voice? That's
I just...
See, that's the thing. I can do like my scratchy Beetlejuice voice all day, and then the second I try to scream, my voice disappears forever.
Oh yeah.
I
Yeah.
can't.
I'm bad at being loud.
That's exactly it.
I get very anxious to be loud, but whenever I'm loud, I'm very loud.
When you're in the zone.
Uh-huh.
I can go as scratchy as I want, but if I get too loud, my voice is gone. Just forever. I will lose my voice for like 3
Is
days.
your scream like a high pitch, but then your other is deeper? Your scratchy is more deep.
I don't think I can scream.
No,
I don't think I know how.
That's
I don't think
okay.
I know how to do like the death metal like low growl screams.
That's the only thing about doing the haunt. So I mean, wouldn't you find that after doing it all season, group after group after group, don't you kind of get to the point where, where's my voice going by the end of the night,
I do that sometimes in the ticket booth, just talking so
Right.
much.
Right.
Really? I don't know. I talk a lot.
When I'm on the back of the
We'll have to look
Contagion
around for a
truck,
drink or something.
I can't do it 2 nights in a row.
You guys need like headsets or something
Right.
that you two can communicate.
Well, and you're repeating everything, like, what's your specials?
And like a...
I don't repeat anything.
You have to interact. From the very
Yeah.
time they come in, you have to interact and make them feel like they're getting the best deal, and that's a special one.
There also wasn't that many people to make it that tiresome. I'm sure if I had to do it constantly as people kept coming through, it would have gotten tiring after.
We get like
an
a good
hour.
5-10 minute break in between groups.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We can
so
just,
like
chill for a minute.
I just
I also had a lot of water.
don't lose my voice from doing mine.
Yeah.
I did it. I dressed as Beetlejuice for Halloween, and I did that same voice for like 8 hours.
Yeah.
Honestly, the
That's
dust was more like than
Hard to handle.
the talking.
Oh yeah, well
Next
that's
year won't be
with
so
this
bad.
last year the dust was hard, but after we got that water truck, it was a lot better.
I'm just surprised I'm able to scream like I can being a cigarette smoker.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, you were
I've gotten
smoker?
better. I've gotten better at screaming because of the haunt, actually.
Really?
Because before that, I was like pretty good at it, but I would lose my voice in like half an hour. After the haunt, now I can easily do it for hours.
Yeah.
You got some practice. All right, Director Gary, share with us your horror movie.
Okay, we were supposed to do Silent Night, Deadly Night 5, but I again did not watch Silent Night,
'Cause
Deadly
you've been
Night
a little
We
5.
will never do Silent Night, Deadly Night 5, is what I'm
What if it's the
getting.
best one? What if it's really a
You know what?
10?
After 3 and
At
4,
4,
you got to really work yourself up, don't you?
Yeah, and I tell you,
These 5-star movies, by the way.
well,
No,
it might be.
he didn't
I
say
don't
that
know.
about 3 and 4.
Oh, he didn't?
Yeah, no, I'm certainly not 3,
You lost your
and
interest.
4 was. But
I thought you get 4-star.
did I? I may have. I
I
know it wasn't as
don't
bad as
remember
3.
a star
3 was
rating.
horrible. 3
Yeah.
was the worst damn movie I've ever seen. And I like movies that are bad, but that was bad.
Well, I can recommend you a bad, funny
I
horror
can
movie.
also recommend you a
would.
Let's hear that.
It's
Yes,
Dead,
tell us.
the Dead Snow series. It's about Nazi
That's a good one.
Oh
zombies.
yeah, I like those movies.
Oh, it's
Yes.
about Nazi zombies. It's hilarious.
Yeah, I know exactly
Nazi
what you're
You've
talking
watched
about.
them?
Oh yes, I've watched
Oh,
those.
they're so good.
Oh, yeah,
I
I
love
love
the
those
second
movies.
one. The second one's my
Yeah,
favorite.
yeah.
I wouldn't even say it's that scary because it's too goofy to be scary.
It's so
but if you've
funny.
ever seen Vampire's Assistant,
I have
Yes.
not. Oh, you have?
Yeah.
it's
shoot.
based off of a book series, and it's like this thing. It's like a freak show circus
Mm-hmm.
that the vampire travels with, and then there's this kid who accidentally stumbles onto the fact that he's a vampire, and he gets like. He becomes his assistant, basically. He's like, I can't go outside during the day, so I need you to do it for me. And so he's basically being blackmailed into this.
When was this made?
Oh, I have no idea. Early 2000s, probably.
I want to say I've seen it.
It feels, the vibe is that it's supposed to be scary. There's a lot of like body horror stuff because of the freaks from the freak show. They're all different types of things.
Mm-hmm.
And then it just never truly comes across as scary because the dialogue is so cheesy.
And that's why I feel like it's one you'd give a 5.
Okay, well, I probably would give it a 5.
I think it's on
If
like
it
Netflix or
sounds
Prime
like
Video
a
or
good
something.
movie.
We actually did have one that Corey brought up a couple weeks back too that we need you to review.
Okay.
What
That,
was
that
it?
one?
the new Winnie the Pooh.
Oh, yeah,
I
yeah.
haven't seen that yet. Have you guys seen anybody?
No.
I've
I
only
haven't.
seen
Are we
clips.
talking about the live
and
action one?
Blood and Honey?
Yeah.
Oh, I
Honey,
haven't seen
yeah.
that one.
It's from the clips I've seen. it's
There's
not
going
good.
the director of Terrifier,
Oh.
the
Yeah.
Terrifier films, is making one based off of Steamboat Willie.
I saw.
Oh,
the
I thought you were
preview
talking about the other
clips.
one.
I
think
want to
that's-
watch it because
I
I
will
like
watch it.
Damien Leone. I like his work. His stories could probably I could see a better route, but I appreciate where he's going,
But,
and I'm
look
gonna
what he
stick
had to
with
work
it.
with, though. Like,
Yeah.
what was his budget? And
I have no.
I
No,
think it was
it's
like
very-
a.
it's very low.
Yeah, for the
Yeah.
first Terrifier, it was only like I want to say 20,000.
It was very low, yeah. And
I
it
love the
flopped it.
Terrifier movies, though. I like
He had
even if it didn't go in
20,000.
the
Imagine
direction.
if we had 20,000.
I know.
Yeah, but like
It'd be
with how
hot
good
ass
the
in it.
effects look
The
and the
practical
gore.
effects in those movies, mwah.
Yeah, no, he did a very good job.
They're making a new horror movie coming out in February called Heart Eyes, and it's a Valentine's Day
Yes.
serial killer.
Yep, yep, yep.
Ooh.
And I actually really want to watch it. He's got like these cool heart-shaped glowing pink goggles
Oh,
Is it based
and
on
like
a
a
true
like
story?
a like a full leather face mask. What?
Is it based on a true story or?
I have no idea. I don't know anything about it. I've just seen a couple of previews, and it looks weird and good, which
Yeah,
is the
yeah.
perfect
Yeah,
combination.
I've seen a few. I haven't seen any previews, but I've seen some still images.
Oh,
Going
wait a
back to
minute.
this-
Before, I'm so sorry.
Okay.
Speaking of Hard Eyes and Valentine's Day movies, and can't believe I've waited this long to bring this up.
Suspense.
We often talk about how Gary could be such a great catch, but then he
Oh,
throws out
where's this
things that
going?
that remind us why he's single.
Where's this going?
I cannot believe what I heard him ask Micah to do this weekend.
Oh,
We get this. We're shooting the film, and we get this.
sorry,
She has to do this vomit scene, and she does this vomit scene perfectly. We got oatmeal. She dyed it the perfect color that looked just like her vomit.
Did look like on it.
And it was strawberries and cream oatmeal. She gets it in her mouth. She spits it out, and then afterwards he looks at it and plays it back, and then he comes up and he goes, "Would you vomit on my phone, please?" Why do you ask somebody that? And honestly, so the rest of us are thinking, let's go get some saran wrap if we're gonna do this. And he's like, no, just sit down and vomit away. I can wash it. I'm like, Gary.
really
This
good.
is why no one's coming to your Blockbuster.
I'm gonna be honest. I've been asked weirder things.
Oh my goodness. Who do you hate?
Don't tell.
There was this guy who like DM'd me on Instagram, and he was like trying to like get with me, and I was just messing with him. And he was like, "What are you into?" And I was like, "Oh, I really like to pretend to be a goose."
Oh my goodness.
And he responded with "good goose." It was hilarious. I just kept him going, and then I got bored and blocked him.
That's so funny.
That's disturbing.
He was totally, he did not question it.
Was he an older man?
I don't
Probably.
Probably.
Was his name Gary Duffy?
Oh no! That's why I said it was disturbing.
Like he didn't question it. He didn't like
he
think
ask
that
to
I was
show you his
messing with him at
Blockbuster
all. He
bedroom?
just immediately ran with it. I was like, okay.
Bro was desperate.
Who knows? It could have been some guy in a foreign country
Even our-
trying to get
I
any
have
information
no
from you.
idea, but it was
That is
funny.
funny.
Anything.
There's just a lot of creepy men on the internet too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really is.
I'm
I
still
don't have to
worried
deal
about,
with
like, if I get pulled over again, and somebody wants to see my driver's license, you stand right here and give me this ticket. Don't go back to your car, take my picture or my address or anything down. You give me the ticket
Yeah,
right
that is
now.
scary, especially because a lot of crimes, are committed by cops. That
There
they
was
just
a
get away
serial
with.
killer.
Yeah.
And he was a cop, and he would get the people's address. Like,
That's
he'd pull over the people from out of
terrifying.
state, and then he'd take a vacation to where they lived, the town where they lived, and then he would go murder them or the family or whatever.
That's what. There's a lot of people who impersonate cops too. Like
Yeah,
they'll,
they'll impersonate cops to
they'll
try and get your information.
they'll have a siren on their like van or something, and then you'll be like, "Oh, it's a cop. Got to pull
Well,
over."
they said if you don't feel comfortable, you drive straight to the police station.
Yeah.
Well, that's what
I'm
I'm
just
starting
saying,
doing.
if a van's trying to pull you over, probably just don't pull over.
Well, yeah, but like undercover cops
Unless
exist.
they say they have free kittens.
I don't think undercover.
Free kid,
Yeah.
yeah. Free kid.
I don't need
chocolate
any more.
candy.
No, I don't think they're allowed to because they're not in uniform.
But-
Don't pull over for them.
Don't pull over
But,
for undercover cops.
Why are we saying you don't have that kind of? What, you don't have to worry about that?
People don't message me ever. like, no.
Also, you don't like
She has
post
no
many
friends.
pictures of yourself online.
Yeah, I don't
Is
generally
it?
post pictures
Yeah,
of myself.
it's because you.
But
post
the only
pictures
thing
of
I've
yourself.
ever had to deal with is one time I was crossing a crosswalk and some guy cat called me in, and ironically he said, "Hey, shoddy," and I started laughing.
That's gotta be an ego blow. Dude, you catcall someone and they start laughing, I would like
He said,
go
"Hey,
home and
shoddy,
cry
you
into
want
my
to be my
pillow."
baby girl?"
What is shoddy? What is it?
For the record, I was dressed in like a 3-piece suit.
No.
What?
Yeah, what is a shoddy?
It's like
So you look like a boss.
it's
babe.
like
Who's into that?
how would you
It's like I would say it's from like early 2000s
Yeah.
club terminology,
You never saw me from
where
the front, only from the back.
it would
That's
be
so
like
funny.
you would see
Oh.
someone that is
That's
attractive,
what he
and
did
that's
too.
you would call them
You see
shoddy.
me from the
Okay.
back with
It's
blonde
like
hair and
babe.
3-piece suit.
Yeah,
adjacent.
yeah.
Kind of,
That's what
but
he
more
say,
like
hey, shoddy.
less intimate.
Yeah.
God,
Are you guys
Let-
picturing that though? You see me from the back with buzzed hair and a 3-piece suit, and your first instinct is to yell, "Hey, shoddy!"
That's what he likes. What he likes.
Likes what he likes, Max. Just accept it.
I started laughing so hard.
Yeah, I have never not seen you done up ever. So I feel like you probably get hit on more than you think you do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I only wear makeup like
Yes,
every
shoddy
once in
is a
while.
popular slang term used by guys to say a girl is good looking.
I got on that.
It was really funny. It was so. I am nobody's shoddy. I don't think I qualify.
You're so funny.
You
We
qualify
can
for
get into
him.
how do I reply to a hey shoddy? Respond with a playful howdy or hey.
Howdy.
Next time say
Or-
howdy.
or
I
ever-
always say
or
howdy.
evidently
Like,
laugh.
maiden
Get
greeting
your
is
boyfriend
yeah.
on deep.
Yeah, if you laugh, that's
Or
why you get
suggest
chopped up
meeting
somehow
somewhere.
by some crazy person.
Or what?
Or suggest you meeting somewhere.
Hey,
This is how it
yo.
was.
Dang.
It was so.
Wow.
It was like cringy to hear. It was like,
That's so
"Hey,
funny.
shoddy, you want to be
Yeah.
my baby girl?"
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I don't know why people think that that's okay to do anyway.
Does it ever work?
No.
That's why I got
You look
like.
like some
Yes,
scrawny little guy
it does.
too.
Work.
What do you mean, yes, it does?
It does
When
work,
does it
because
ever
I
work?
named 2 of my friends growing up that it absolutely would have worked on. But
That's crazy.
That's
Let's
insane.
name those two friends.
It absolutely works on my mom.
Some people, just a little bit of attention is all it needs. And
Okay.
It
I'm
would
gonna
sadly
make sure and
probably
tag your
work on my
on
mom,
this.
too.
Right?
Good luck finding her. I don't think she has any social
her
media.
family.
Oh, I'm just kidding with you.
Max's family can never watch this. I don't know that you've said anything good about your family this whole
No,
show.
it's
Neither of our families are watching this.
I'm what you call brutally honest. I won't
Yeah.
say anything they don't already know.
Yeah, that's
That I haven't already said to them.
I'm just saying, at least
I don't
you
even
wouldn't
talk
trade
to
them in
half
for a
my
couple of
family, so-
billionaires, would you?
I don't talk to any of my family.
Which Billy man?
Yeah, you should feel bad.
You should feel bad. You should feel horrible.
I miss
Oh, it's
living
so
in
boring.
San Jose so much. It's one of the only big. It sucks because it's so expensive. But it's one of the only big cities I can actually like imagine myself living in.
yeah.
Sacramento. I hate Sacramento. I hate
think
San
you would have
Francisco.
I think you would have liked Costa Mesa. When we were down there, Costa Mesa was so nice.
It was really nice.
San Diego was okay. It was okay.
Yeah, I
But
was
San Jose
down
is
there.
just so nice, and there's always stuff going on.
And that's where your family is.
No. Most of my family dead.
But he's never been to a funeral.
Or in prison.
I was just like
Yeah,
to
or
point
in
out,
prison.
Right?
You
I've
can't forget
never
about-
been to the funeral, but most of his family is dead.
Right?
Are you one of these
Something
serial
you'd like to
killers that she was
talk
talking
about?
about
Yeah.
last week?
Sitting next to a serial killer, not even
Yeah.
knowing it.
Right?
Last week on our podcast, or she had shared about there was a silly serial killer, and
Not that that's a bad thing.
Yeah, we like him very
Don't
much.
get all upset.
I know where you
they
live.
were going to like he would kill somebody, have him in the trunk, and then go and have lunch.
The back of his truck. Back of his
Oh,
big
back of
bed.
I can't remember.
Time to
who
go
it
to
was.
Denny's.
I had a family member who escaped a serial killer. I can't remember what serial killer it was though.
I've escaped a potential kidnapping / thing situation.
I've almost been kidnapped like 3 or 4 times in
I
my
was
whole
almost
life.
kidnapped and
Jeez.
raped.
You were
Yes.
in Modesto?
Yeah.
No, this was off the 101.
Like, what were you doing?
I was driving to Petaluma, and I had gotten lost, and I had to get gas, so I stopped at a gas station. It was about 1 o'clock in the morning, right?
It's
No
always
seat-
the
no
gas
cell
stations
phones
at 1
back then.
o'clock.
Yeah.
It's always the
Nope.
same thing. I worked
It
that.
happens after midnight. I tell you guys that all the
Right.
time.
Oh, I worked night shift. I couldn't.
So
It
no
was-
cell phones, your paper maps, this was back in like 97.
Ooh.
And so I pull into this gas station, and I go up, and I guess I probably had to pay cash. And so the gas station was closed, but it had this little window box off the one, off
Yeah, the
roof.
little boxes.
Right, and I walked up there, and this really big woman. I mean, big woman. And she was in the window.
I feel like I need to say, how big?
Big, I mean,
Big like tall or big
big
like wide?
like brown. She's probably close to 450. She was a very large woman. And so I go up and I get gas. And I remember as I'm talking to her, or I didn't get gas, but I was handing her money or something like that. And I remember saying, hey, could I also trouble you to buy a map because I don't have a map and I'm trying to get to Petaluma. She's like, oh, we'll just come inside and I get you a map. And I was like, oh, cool. So she unlocks the double doors and I come in and the lights are off and all that. And she's like, it's in the back. I said, okay. And I'm saying that she was
You didn't question that? It's in the back?
Well, I just stood there, right? And so I thought she was going to go get it. And she's
Rule of hand: after 10 p.m., be scared of anyone bigger than you.
and she goes, come on. And I said, well, I can wait for it. She goes, no, come on. She grabs my hand, and she's grabbing my hand. She's like feeling up my arm, and I'm like, oh, no. And so I pull my arm away from her. I'm like, I don't need a nap. I don't need a map. I don't need gas. I said, thank you so much. And so I'm walking towards the door. She's like pulling on my clothes as I'm walking, and she's like, no, come on, it's in the back. Come with me to the back. I was like, no, I'm okay. And I got through there. I got to my truck, and I was like on fumes. I was like, I don't care, and I took off. And that's
Did
I
you
bet you
keep
had
your
no
money?
trouble
Did you
running
have
away
money?
from her.
I don't think she got my money because I don't think I had paid for gas.
She was
yet.
just
So I was
trying
going
to
to
show
pay
you
for
the
the
map.
map, and I don't think so. And so I got
of her
gas.
body.
Oh,
Maybe the map was tattooed on her back. You don't know.
could have been.
She got that body like the
On
back
her
roads.
And so I ended up in Oakland after that. And that was the next place I found to get
Oh,
gas.
no.
Best place.
South Oakland, and I pull over.
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
That's way better. Good thinking. Good thinking, Gary.
It was not. And so I go into the gas station, right? And these aren't like the nicest looking people. I mean, it's 1 a.m. They're not getting up to go to work the next morning. They're some rough folks. And so I go to the gas station. I thought it was odd that there was 3 people behind the counter. And I go up and I pay them the money and I say, hey, can I get some gas? And they're looking at me like they've
You
just
do
seen a
not
ghost,
belong.
right? You are not supposed to be here. I say, hey, so I'm a little lost. And one of the guys goes, yes, you are.
Yeah. Fight.
Oh, shit.
Gary, I think you'd be the first person to die. in a
Oh, I
movie.
probably would.
Yeah.
I probably would. And I-
He'd be saying,
There's-
I
there's
rate
a-
this a 5.
A
And I had the
numerous
most
amount of
redneck-
red
I
flags
had
that
the
you
most
did not
redneck
see.
Who in
white
this
boy
room is
truck. It
actually
was a
getting out
1979
You,
Ford.
for some
Fog
reason.
lights and everything. And so I'm getting my
Was it
Yeah,
gas.
the funny one never
Huh?
dies.
Was it white?
No, it was a brown truck. But I was getting gas, so I'm pumping my gas, and these people, this group of dudes saw me, and they just kept circling the block and just staring me down.
Ooh,
man, I
never a
couldn't
good
wait
feeling.
till I got my gas. I got the hell out of there.
And nobody followed you?
Nobody followed me, but I remember as I was driving down in the middle of Oakland, I'm driving down, and it was just like something you'd see off TV. Like, there was this guy, and he was in a wheelchair, and he had a paper bag, and inside the paper bag, you just know it was booze, and he was like kicking it back because he was wheeling his wheelchair. It was the strangest thing. Then I crossed the street, and it must have been it must not have been 2 o'clock yet because there was a bar open. And then as I crossed the street, it was like a nice neighborhood all of a sudden, and like lights hanging from like, I was like, what in the hell? Like on one side of the street was a scary place, and then across the street, it wasn't a scary looking place. I couldn't.
But now
That's how
all it
Modesto
is
is.
just as
People
scary
don't mess
as
with me. I can go anywhere I want.
You're scary looking.
People mess with me during the day. Like I said, I've almost been kidnapped like 4 times.
Those are probably your guardian angels driving around over there. You're probably lucky. They would probably keep you.
Closest I ever got.
I'm sure that's what they're
One
doing.
time I was walking home from rehearsals. I was walking home from rehearsals, and it's a 3-mile walk from the theater that we were at to my house. And so I was walking down like a G Street. It's the main street in Merced, one of them. And I was just past the Goodwill, and this car pulled in behind the Goodwill and parked. And this guy got out, and he walks like 2 steps out of his car, and he goes, "Hey."
Shoddy.
He was like, "Hey, I'm lost. Can I get some directions from you?" I was like, "Where are you trying to go?" And he gave me like a place that he actually wanted to go that really existed. And I was like, I think he was asking to get to the freeway. I was like, "Just go straight. It's literally straight down this road. You cannot miss it."
He's like,
and he kept trying to like walk a little closer and walk a little closer.
Nope.
He was like, "Hey, you got any plans tonight?"
Yep, there it
And
is.
I was like, "No, bye." And I just kept walking. That was literally, I didn't like say anything, I didn't do anything, he didn't get any closer than like, he was still like 10 feet from me, and he was just like, "You got any plans tonight?" And I was like, "No, bye."
I was in a
I don't have any
deployment,
plans, I'm not making any with you, good night.
and I can't remember what hotel. I can't remember where I was, but I want to say I was in Baton Rouge. Remember when I got out at the hotel? I'd been camping because there was no hotels open, and finally a hotel room opened up. It was in the middle of a disaster. And I pulled up into the hotel, and you had to come in through some gates first anyways. I pulled up to where my room was, and I went to get out of my car. I'm pretty well aware of my surroundings, but this is a disaster, and usually more people are more, not so much shady shit happens. Shady stuff happens. I get out of my car, and the guy chases me around my truck. And I'm screaming. I don't have anything with me. I'm like, "Get back, just stand back." And he's like, "No, I just want to ask you some questions." I'm like, "Get back." But he was trying to get close enough to grab.
Yeah, that's exactly what he was doing.
It was, and that was probably one of the only times that I really ever got.
I don't have anything to steal.
Wow.
I just
You
got
say that, but
an email.
got your
Your
truck,
virtue.
somebody's truck got robbed and all your
Oh.
stuff got stolen.
That's the only time I've ever had
That
my
wasn't
stuff
a
on me.
direct robbery.
You
It's
want my
not the
Costco
possessions, it's you yourself.
Right,
It's
your
your
body.
Yeah.
Let me tell you what happened. We had
I
cell
don't even
phones
want
back
this
then,
thing.
though. This has been 20 years, but we had cell phones. It was a flip cell phone.
Oh, yeah.
And I dialed 911 as I'm running around, hollering at this guy, "Stay back, stay back. I don't have anything on me at that time," which I should have had. And when it called
This is
the
the only thing
emergency
I have on
services,
me.
it
It's
wasn't
my
there in
Costco
that
card.
town. It wasn't.
Oh, no.
I don't even remember where it was. I don't remember if it came back to California
Oh,
or what.
probably
but it
did.
didn't catch a cell tower in the area.
Yeesh.
So they were like,
But you
"Tell
say
me where
during
you're
the
at."
disaster, people are usually nicer, and that's not
That-
true.
that is
when
true.
We
No, right.
are when we
Nice
had the
people are nicer.
hurricane in Louisiana. Molly was living in one of our homes, and
People were stealing.
people were what is it called?
Looting. Yeah,
Looting.
looting.
Yeah, and she was like holding the door shut whilst people were trying to get into
Yeah.
her house. So
That's
But usually when
terrifying.
That is terrifying.
after a disaster and I don't know, it just depends.
you would think people would be nicer, I think, but I think it depends on where
Where
you're
you're
at.
at, yeah.
Because there are people, there are really good people out there, but there are also really bad people.
I've gotten robbed twice. Once was when I was 15. I was sneaking out doing stuff I wasn't supposed to.
Karma.
And it was so funny because all I had was this like Obama phone and a pair of like Chinese headphones that were like $5 off eBay. And this guy on a bike walks up to me and he pulls out a knife. He's like, run your pockets. So I hand him all I have, my phone and the headphones. And he takes them and he looks at he's just like, "Nah, you can have them."
What? You need this more than me.
I don't want
Bluetooth device has been connected. And then the second time was when I was working at 7-Eleven. I've had a person go into my store and point a gun at me and say, like, empty the register. He got like $40. Like, that's it. Like,
She said, okay.
I'm just like, all right.
Not worth robbing.
I took in more today. Like,
I don't think people. I mean, you would think enough people have a life experience to know that that much money isn't kept in cash registers.
Not
Yeah.
anymore.
Also, like,
White
when
collar.
has robbing a store with a gun ever worked?
well, the cops didn't do
I know they're
anything.
gonna
I will
robbing a
tell you,
stagecoach.
this happened. I ran a series of stores. We had 10 stores,
Gas
USA gasoline stations, and it was hard for me at one point to keep graveyard shift staffed because there was a guy in Modesto. This happened. There was a guy in Modesto who would go into the Arco stores. He started with the Arcos, but he started going to others too. He would go in there and rob them, and of course nobody keeps money in graveyard shift. They were told no more than $50 in the cash register. That was our policy.
Yeah.
And and I'm sure that Arco and all those, anybody of any credibility was
7-Eleven does
the same thing. So he'd go in, he would rob them, he'd leave the store, but then he'd go back in and shoot him in the leg or in the leg or the foot or something.
Why?
But he just
Well,
because. But he would do
Would
it
he
with
like fully
he did like
leave
3 or
and
4
then come
times.
back?
Huh?
Would he fully leave and then come
He'd
back?
go back like out to his car, probably throw the money in his car, whatever.
If
Grab.
somebody just robbed me, I'm immediately locking myself in the back room.
Why is he not
I also
shooting while
did
he's
the
in
same
there the
thing.
first time? What's the
I don't
point
know.
of
I don't know
doing
why he did what he did, but he.
I
He's
just-
got to get some. He's got to get the money out of there first, and then if he has the time, he comes back in for.
He shot him like 3 or 4
Well,
people.
I think because of that, that's the reason why for us, once they leave the store, you go up to the front doors and you lock them, and then you go in the back and you call the manager.
Yeah.
Or the cops.
Yeah.
See,
So-
I
well,
would
for
not
us,
have
it was manager
in me
first,
to
then
go up and
cops,
lock the
but-
door.
Really?
Still
Yeah.
in the parking lot, I'm calling the cops first.
Yeah, I would
Yeah,
call
I'm calling
cops
the
first.
cops and then
Yeah.
calling the manager. You can
Absolutely.
wait
Yeah.
about 20 minutes.
So ours was about ours were kiosks booths.
Yeah.
So the only person that was allowed in the booth was the cashier.
Gary would have never been invited in. Come
No.
into the back room.
No.
Yeah.
Well, sounds like there wouldn't have been room for you.
No, they're not in the room.
They were kiosk booths, but they sold cigarettes. And that was the worst of it. When we did get robbed, they would always take cigarettes, and that's where our money would, because they take
Yeah.
4,000 or 5,000. A carton of cigarettes is $40,
Yeah.
$50. So I mean,
Yeah.
they take.
They need to start making those little like drive up windows at gas stations, like bank teller booths with like bulletproof glass.
They
But
used to
it's sad
have
that our
those.
society has to do that. You
Yeah.
know?
Just it goes back to
Yeah.
Walmart. Everything's behind glass now.
Right. But hold the bad people, hold them accountable. Hold the robbers accountable. Put them in jail.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Prison
because
for a couple of
when
years
when
and
well
people would
break
do
their
when we
fingers.
got robbed,
Yeah.
I don't think the cops did anything about it.
No,
Like,
they
corporal
didn't.
punishment.
We had
No.
over $2,000 worth of stuff stolen, and they didn't do anything.
And when
about
I
it.
got robbed at gunpoint, the cops didn't even want to look at the footage. My manager had to be like, "No, look at the footage.
Right.
Identify
we
the criminal."
did have one robbery, and she got robbed, and they actually caught him. I think they caught him that night, if I remember the story
Because he
right.
was robbing someplace else too.
They caught him that night, a little later, and he got 7 years.
So I got stuck up by a person. It was middle of the night, and I probably was buying cigarettes or something, and that guy pointed a gun at my truck window and was saying, "Roll down your window," and I shook my head no, started the truck and left.
Yeah, like, I'm in a car, like, just go.
You smoke?
I did.
Oh.
I did. I smoked for like 16 years.
And there was a gunfight between somebody at the tattoo shop and one of the customers at our gas station, and they started shooting at each other. One of them got killed, shot and killed.
And
Yeah.
that very same shopping center behind there, I think that's where one of the sheriff's officers got shot in the knee by one of my relatives.
Oh,
Oh my gosh.
My goodness.
yeah.
I used to. This was so stupid, but I used to DoorDash in Modesto at like 1 a.m., 2 a.m. back then because less competition, more money to be made. There are some really sketchy people in neighborhoods. It's really.
Did you get tipped good, or would you be afraid that you'd go into a door and somebody's going to steal the food?
Yeah, it's not about stealing the food. It's about getting kidnapped because I've heard about DoorDashers who have gotten robbed, who have gotten kidnapped. Trafficked or like just straight up killed.
Did you hear the story I shared a couple weeks ago? The lady was in her, she had went on a Tinder date or something. It was called something else. And after they went Dutch Street, They went home. She went to her place. He went to his. He called her. His roommate was gone, and she said she invited him over. The roommate never was there. He couldn't get into his house. So she said, well, you can just stay here. She went into her room. She went to bed. She gave him a blanket or something. He could sleep on the couch if he wanted to until the roommate called. Mm-hmm. And he came, and she locked her door. And he came and knocked on the door and said, can I get a phone charger? And she goes, there's a phone charger in there. My phone's dying. Can I get it? She said, there's one in there. And then a couple hours later, he knocked on the door again, and something just didn't feel right. And so she called the police. Like, he was like trying to get her to come out. Mm-hmm. She called the police, and they came in. And her whole apartment was completely plasticked everything out. Like, everything was covered in plastic. He was going to murder her.
Wrap it all up.
That's it.
Nice.
I'm stupid because our first date I went to your house.
That was just did you guys meet off of Tinder?
Yes, unfortunately.
We had a gal that worked for us at in Louisiana, and she went on a Tinder date, and she went home with him the first day, but he lived with his mother, so how bad could it be, you know? Oh no. He beat her lifeless, like she raped her in front of the mother. Like, it was a whole mess.
And the mother never even called the cops.
She was like she needed stitches. She was ripped in places that shouldn't be ripped unless you're pushing a 10-pound baby out or something.
That's terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
There's some freaky people out
there.
This is why I don't date.
So, back to this movie. That was quite the little rabbit hole that we went through.
Yeah, wow. Talk about some real stuff.
I even forgot what
Winnie the Pooh, right?
We haven't gotten that far yet.
Did you say
the reviews I've been reading about...
how the hell did that happen?
And let's finish. Let's not do it again.
The reviews I've been reading about Silent Night, Deadly Night 5 are you have to pay close attention because there's cameos apparently from other previous movies. So that's one reason I haven't wanted to take the time to actually sit down and watch it carefully because I'm just busy, right? I'm working 2 jobs. So on average about 11 hours a day, plus we're making 2 movies, and I'm just busy.
Plus the podcast.
And plus the podcast, yeah. And that's an hour here and an hour back, and I don't know, just busy. So I didn't want to just kind of watch it and then not give it full attention. So I will at some point give it a full attention. So in the meantime, we're going to go to one of my favorite films, and I got I was pretty lucky. I went down to LA and I got to watch this sitting next to the director, the producer, and one of the actresses.
How cool.
And the actress I've known for a while because I used to have a show called Trash Talk where I'd interview people as we picked up trash in a park or something. And so her name is Emily Sweet, and she's in this movie, and this movie is called 8 Eyes. Why it's called 8 Eyes, I don't know. I haven't asked. But I should have asked because I was sitting right next to Austin, and I was sitting right next to...
the number, or...
The number 8 and Eyes. E-E-Y-E-S. 8 Eyes.
Oh.
And I was sitting right next to Austin. Austin was the director, and he's also the director of The Last Drive-In with Joe Bob Briggs, if you guys ever watched that show. And I was also sitting next to Justin Martell, who is the producer of The Last Drive-In with Joe Bob Briggs, but he also produced this movie, which is called 8 Eyes. And I was actually just talking to Justin today, and anyways, he's a really, really neat guy. And so they make these fun little movies that I enjoy, and this one was called 8 Eyes. And so how it starts is you have one character named Cass, and she's a woman. You have another character named Gav, and he is her husband. And they have traveled to Yugoslavia to take a tour. And Gav is kind of weird. He's got a 8mm camera that likes to record everything, and nobody...
That's why it's called 8 Eyes. It's 8mm.
Mystery solved.
That's the end of the film, right there. So he's recording this stuff, and they like crash a wedding, right? They're at this wedding. They're not even supposed to be there, but he's recording it. And then they hop on a train. And they're driving on a train, right? And Gav, he's kind of wanting to get kind of fresh with Cass, and Cass is like, "No, I got a headache," you know how women do. And he's like, "Okay, fine." And so he leaves and he goes out to one of the cars, and because it was on trains, sometimes you have little hotel rooms on there, and so he goes up to one of the cars, and he doesn't come back till late. When he does come back, he comes back with this really big guy named Saint Peter, and Saint Peter has a messed up eye. And he comes inside and he's like, "Hey, Ann, he's gonna sleep in our cab, okay?" And she's like, "I don't care what you do, just shut up." And so
I still got a headache.
Yeah, I got a headache. And so St. Peter takes the top bunk, Gav takes the bottom bunk. The next morning, there's a knock on the door, and as we find out, St. Peter never had a ticket. And so this lady's asking, where's your ticket? And St. Peter's getting a little uppity with her. He's like, I don't need a ticket. And she's like, you need a ticket. He's like, no. And so they kick all three of them off the train. And St. Peter's like, hey, you know what? I live around here. I'm going to give you the best tour that you've ever had of Yugoslavia. And they're like, great. And so they go on a tour, and he takes them to an abandoned factory. And they're at an abandoned factory. The roof's all caved in. And he's talking about how there was a bombing. And he starts talking about how life has been so hard for him in Yugoslavia. And it gets worse, and then he starts getting a little angry. Now he's angry at them. And stuff happens. And he kind of calms down, and he chills out. He's like, sorry. And you're starting to think, all right, St. Peter is a nut. Turns out they end up sleeping at the factory. That's part of the Yugoslavia experience. So they sleep there, and Cass decides to get a little fresh with her husband because apparently the train wasn't the right time and place. She wants to do it in an abandoned factory, and so they kind of do the sex. And then it turns out that St. Peter was watching, and he had the camera.
Oh, no.
So they wake up the next morning, and Cass is like, okay, you know what, St. Peter, he's kind of creeping me out. She doesn't know about the filming, but he's like kind of creeping me out. I want to go back home. I don't want to be here. This sucks. And they're like, where is St. Peter anyway? Well, he had decided to go out into the woods and hunt them a rabbit. And he's like, we're going to eat good food. And they're like, great, rabbit. And so they eat the rabbit. And then she, like, tries to call for, like, Uber or something, but that doesn't happen.
So wait, he's hunting for rabbits, but they can call an Uber?
I didn't write it. And so, that doesn't show up, but it turns out St. Peter has a vehicle there. And he shows up with the vehicle, and she's like, oh, great. And he's like, come on, I take you to a hotel, blah, 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 because he talks like that, and it's real scary. And so from there, I'm not quite sure what happens, because I don't remember, but I do know that the Cass is getting more and more upset. I want to go home, is basically what she's saying. She is not having a good time. St. Peter ends up taking them to a hotel. They go their separate ways. She's like, good, we're finally rid of this guy. They're in the hotel. Her and Gav kind of get into a little bit of an argument, and she's like, you know what? I need some air. So she leaves. She goes outside. She ends up at a internet cafe where she's attempting to buy an airplane ticket home because she's like, I'm done. And guess who's at the internet cafe but our friend St. Peter. And St. Peter comes in, and he's a big man, and he kicks most everybody out of the internet cafe. And he says, you're come to dinner with me, I help you, blah, blah, blah. And so he ends up stalking her to dinner. They're having a bottle of wine. She's getting more and more infuriated at this person. He's trying to give her his mama's ring. And he's like, I don't want your mom's ring. I want to go back to the hotel. I've had enough of you, blah, blah, blah. She's done being polite to this guy. She thinks they go their separate ways. She goes back to the hotel with mama's ring. She took mama's ring. And she goes up to the hotel room, and the hotel room is thrashed. Gavin is not there. Uh-oh. So then, at that part, she's got to try to find Gavin because something bad happened, and she thinks it probably has to do with St. Peter.
At that point, I'd be like, Gavin's dead, I'm leaving. I'm calling the cops.
Yeah, I would have left too. I don't remember what happens next. I guess I should have watched this movie. Sorry, guys. I've seen it a few times. But I can tell you this. She gets kidnapped by St. Peter. He may even kidnap her in the hotel room. I don't quite remember. And she ends up on this operating table because she knocked her out. And across from her is another lady on an operating table. And they're in operating gowns. And enters a big, fat, naked man. And he has a mask that he has made out of dripped wax on his face. Oh. And he goes up to the lady across from Cass, and he starts dripping wax into that lady's ear, but she's not waking up, so she must be really asleep. And he puts it in there, and then he turns it over to the other side and dumps it in there, and he goes over to her to do the same thing, but of course he is distracted. And so she's acting like she's asleep. Cass is acting like she's asleep. And does not get wax in her ear, and he gets distracted, and has to go into the other room, and we see his butt cheeks, and he's naked. And so she's like, I gotta get out of here, right? So she gets up, and she's starting to look around the apartment a little bit, trying to get to the exit. And what do we see? We see this young guy with some Beat headphones on his ears, and he's doing tech stuff. I don't know what it is. And she sees him, and I don't remember what happened next, but she had to kill him, and so he's dead. And so she tried to hide the body in the apartment, and then enters Big St. Peter, and she's like, uh-oh. So she hides under a table, And then, she slit his throat. That's what she did. She ended up slitting his throat. And then she's under there, and she notices there's somebody else in the apartment, and this dude's on oxygen, and he likes to play these little things that you stick in your mouth, and it goes...
Oh, I love those things.
Yep, he does too. And then they find out, hey, our brother's dead.
He's
mouth
something.
Yeah, those things. And so he's dead, and they're not happy, and so... the brother's like, I wish I was with you in your final orgasm. That's what she said to him, or he said to him. And then all of a sudden they're like, okay, let's go check the room because somebody's awake, right? And so they go in there, but Cass has made it back to the room, and she's acting like she's asleep. And in comes the 8mm camera, and he does something dirty with that camera. I can't say it on this show, but he's checking to make sure that she's asleep, and she did a good job. She acted like she was asleep. And then they wake up the First Lady, and he's like, come on, we've got questions for you, and she's not happy, and so they bring her into this room, and it's like an
It's called a jaw heart.
Okay, jaw heart. And they bring her into this room, and they ask her a question like, what do you hear? Well, she has wax in her ears, and they're like, what do you hear? And she's like, I don't hear anything. And guess who's in the room too? But Gav isn't looking too good. He has definitely got his ass kicked. He was kind of a wiener through this whole movie, so it probably wasn't that hard. The lady, she's like, I don't hear anything. So he takes this big club, and he puts her head on a coffee table, and BAM! Bashes her brains out. So apparently, she didn't give the right answer. So they go get Cass, and they bring her in, and they're like, what do you hear? Oh, and then by the time they put wax in her ear. And she's like, what do you hear? What do you hear? And it turns out, she says the right answer, because ever since they have met St. Peter, she has had this annoying buzzing sound in her ears. And so she just says it like she's about to get her head beat in. But she goes, I've heard a buzzing noise. And that's enough to make all the brothers happy, the ones that are still alive. And they're like, oh, you see, I knew she was the one. And they go to Gavin, and they bash his head in, and they kill him in front of her. And she's not happy about that, because that's her husband. And then they said, you have to go see Mama. So they bring her into a room, and Mama's dead. And Mama is across the room with candles all on her head, and she's decomposed. And they sit her down in a chair, and they put her on a VHS tape. And Mama is speaking to Cass from beyond the grave. And we realize we are in some kind of messed up poor people cult. And they believe that she is the incarnation of something and a somehow like beacon of something and a something, right? She's a something.
She's a something.
And
for reasons.
For reasons, she is in this room. And Mama is speaking from behind the grave. If you are here and watching me, blah, blah, blah. And basically saying that she is the chosen one. And she doesn't know it, but she's part of this family.
And she has the ring.
And she has the ring, and she has the gift, the 8 eyes. And, Cass ain't buying it. But she's kind of suddenly getting sucked in and seeing things that she shouldn't be seeing. And things are kind of making sense. But she knows they shouldn't be. And so that kind of pisses her off. And so she defiles Mama's corpse. And from there, she comes out, and there's Oxygen Man. And I forget how, but she kills that guy, too. And as she's running out of the room, she has to go past all these candles. And it was a lot of candles. And she gets into the van, and she's got the keys, and she's starting up. And all of a sudden, there's St. Peter coming out. What have you done to our family? What have you done to Mama? And she's like, F you. And she starts the van, and she takes off. He's like, no. What have you done to Mama? And she takes off. So, cut to night. It's nighttime. And he's sitting around a fire. His family's dead, and I guess he's sad because he slits his throat and dies. So St. Peter kills himself and dies with like a rusty can, and I think he died a little too quick. And then, cut to the very end of the film, Cass is back, safe, in the United States. She's on a bus. We see the back of her head. She's looking out a bus window. And as she turns her head to view the camera, her eye is cloudy, and we know that she has been possessed by all of the family now, and she is now the 8-eye person or something. The end.
Oh my goodness.
8 eyes. I highly recommend. 5 stars.
Oh my
It sounds a lot like Hereditary.
No.
Can you
Have
say
you seen Hereditary?
Yes.
It's like the same sort of plot.
I could have described this bad. So, you
You know how Hereditary
Eight
ends?
Eyes.
It's a cult, right?
Yes, but this was not any.
You're gonna have to
You
watch
watch it.
8 Eyes.
You watch it.
So, I like the wax dripping on the face. You should do something like that.
I don't want to copy them.
Well, they put it in
Real.
the ear, but make a mask for the wax ring.
Well,
Well,
the
the big
the
fat
naked
guy-
guy had a mask of.
Yeah, and he
wax.
was naked.
He sure was.
He sure was. We saw his wiener.
So how was the mask? Was it just melted wax?
It was
you
just
see
melted
the
wax. It looks
video?
like drip after drip after drip after
On
drip
his
after
face.
drip until they form something on somebody's face.
Right.
I guess his own.
Oh.
Why he was naked, I don't know. But that was his thing to do around the
Hot
apartment.
wax?
Take your eyes away from the
Apparently.
wax face.
And it worked.
I
that was
love.
his
I'm just
thing.
gonna say, I know you don't want to copy, but I love
If you're
the
in a
idea
cult,
of
you don't need to
Julie
wear clothes.
just melting candles
So if you're in a
over
cult, you don't need to wear clothes.
Marquise's face.
We can.
Yeah.
Then instead
So
of
Marquis stays too. We're gonna put hot wax.
It's just gonna burn a little. You're
Just
fine.
lay in the dirt again, Marquise.
That's
So
funny.
that's your favorite movie of all the
Well,
movies?
I don't know. I don't know about my favorite of all
Well,
time.
you
but
started it. You
certainly
said this is
five
my
out.
absolute favorite movie. So
Well, I think a lot of mine are absolute favorite
Yeah.
movies.
Yeah, I was gonna
Well, I
say,
tell you what-
he said that a lot.
It was one of the most fun experiences I had because
you
I
got to be behind the scenes.
right, you know, I got
Yeah,
to be in the
that
movie
is really
theater.
cool.
It was a
Celebrity
premiere
status.
down in L.A.
Yeah, that is really cool.
Yeah, I got to sit right between the director and the producer, and we were in the back of the theater like cool kids. And then Emily actually came in a little late, and she was like staying in the hallway, and I had to go use the restroom. I walked by her, so why don't you go sit down? She goes, well, I don't want to like walk in front of people. I was like, dude, just crouch down and run in there. And she's like, no. I'm like, all right, so I went to use the bathroom. She's still standing in the hallway. I'm like, this is your movie. Sit down. And she was like, no, I feel bad. And I was like, okay, well, I'm walking across people. So I walked right, I sat down. And then after a while, I was like dart across the theater and sit down. She's one of the politest people I know.
That's sweet.
If somebody was walking across in front of a crowd, I'd just walk next to them. Then you're the one blocking people's view, not me.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
She's an overly polite person. I almost watched her dog for the next few days.
You're an overly polite person.
Well, she has a little dog, like my little dog. And so she almost came up, but she found somebody to watch her.
Oh.
That's fun.
Yeah.
That is
Kyle?
All right, friends, if you are still listening, obviously we've said something that piqued your interest, so we're going to ask that you follow us on all of your social media platforms. If there's anything you'd like to share, send it to hauntafterhours@gmail.com. We'd love to have you on the show. In the meantime, let's stay connected, and remember...
Do it
Do it for the haunt. Oh, this is where you guys
guys
join
know
in.
that.
Oh.
All right, 1, 2, 3. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Do it for the haunt.